this edition of the Legislator of the Week, a program which is aimed at providing answers to questions bordering on issues related to legislators' engagements and their political struggles. I am Eyakenyi. In our today's package, I have with me a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria representing Akwa Ibom South and a former Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development. I'm actually talking about the Deputy Governor-elect of Akwa Ibom State under the People's Democratic Party in the just concluded 2023 general elections. She is Dr. Mrs. Akon Eyakenyi. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Your Excellency, let me start by asking of your brief history.
Thank you very much, Abdullahi. Distinguished Senator Akon Eyakenyi, as you have correctly said, from Oron local government in Akwa Ibom State, currently representing Akwa Ibom South Senatorial District in the 9th Assembly. I am the 9th child of my father, the 2nd child of my mother, both late. By way of education, I am an educationist, but well, by God's special grace, I find myself today fully involved in politics, and thereafter I had the appointment as a federal minister that I served under President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan for 14 months, and we retired at the expiration of his tenure in 2015. When I got back home, God again said he's not done with me. At the state level, I had appointment again to serve as the chairman of the governing council of Akwa Ibom State Polytechnic, a position I held for about 2.5 years before I resigned to run for the seat of the senator.
As a successful educationist, as captured in your profile, what has actually led you into politics?
Well, I'll say first is God's destiny. That's what God planned for me. As an educationist, you're trained to fit into any position, no matter what, politics, anything, any position, business, you're trained as a teacher to be a whole person. So in my crave or service in the political era, I grew up actually from a political background, both paternal and maternal. My late uncles were deeply involved in politics. I had one that was, two of them, they were in the House of Reps, late Comrade Tienam and late Okonbate Tienam. I grew up serving politicians in the family, and I saw how the zeal they had to serve the people, to serve the community. And at that tender age, I knew it would be useful for one to have a position, and in that position, you make sure you make use of it to reach out to your people. I didn't go out for it. At God's own time, as God had planned it, the political appointments started coming in, one after the other, as I had enumerated. And so I would want to say the call into politics is somehow related to my background, because I had that good foundation of, if you are given an opportunity to serve, you know you're using it for the service of mankind. I think that is what encouraged me. From the education sector, yes, as an educationist, you build a future generation, teaching them, or as an inspector where I served in the ministry, ensuring that teachers do the correct thing, students do the correct thing so that they are properly molded to be the future leaders. Again, this one is also to mold the future generation.
Your Excellency, I believed when you were prepared for politics, there must be a target that you wanted to achieve. What are those targets?
Service to humanity, to ensure that my people are given their rights of place, what belongs to them. For example, here in the Senate, my target when I was campaigning was when I get to the Senate, whatever I see that belongs to the people, I will ensure it gets back to you. And that I have done.
As a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, what do you find out to be a priority to the particular geographical area of your representation?
In every given environment, there are needs. There are things that are peculiar to the people. And as a good representative, your inclination should be towards the need of your people. For example, where I come from, my immediate locality, not the senatorial, the Oron Nation, their heart cry, the major thing they needed was the upgrade of the Maritime Academy of Nigeria to a full-fledged university. And from day one, as I entered here, I think a month or two after inauguration, I came up with a bill. Today, by the special grace of God, that bill has been assented to by Mr. President. And it is my belief that with the President's assent, that in the next maybe 1 year or 2 years, whatever, the process of accreditation by NUC, the ministry, NIMASA will be tidied up.
Distinguished Senator Akon, now we'll go to your legislative contributions. You have been talking about road accidents caused by the nature of bad roads we have in the country. Was it not related to the incident that occurred along the Calabar-Itu highway involving your convoy while on campaign?
That's one of the motions that I raised, calling on the federal government to look into bad roads across the nation, and then particularly as it affects Akwa Ibom State. The Calabar-Itu road is a major road linking Calabar, Akwa Ibom, and then Abia states. It's been in a horrible, deplorable condition for years. Government after government, we've been crying out for that, and we did that in the 9th Assembly. Yes, the accidents you've made reference to occurred along the road, the Calabar-Itu road. It is as a result of the bad road, because we were taking one road instead of the dual. The other side was completely blocked. So oncoming vehicle and ongoing vehicle, we were passing through. And what happened was an oncoming vehicle opposite us overtaking a truck on a speed. And as he overtook, he picked up the bike that was in front of the truck up and then dropped it on my bonnet. That's what happened. So it is related with the bad road. If that road was fixed up after the cry that we raised in the floor of the Senate, that Ministry of Works, the federal government, had done their own part, even if it's not complete tiring, at least a remedial work to enable the vehicles move, that wouldn't have happened. So I agree totally that it is related to that.
So what is then the condition of the present condition of that road?
It's still the same way. Nothing major has been done. And I still, again, want to use this medium to call on the federal government. Akwa Ibom State, for crying out loud, is number one, if not number one states that produces the oil that makes Nigeria thick, makes Nigeria what it is today. Therefore, Akwa Ibom State deserves to be given a priority attention in terms of infrastructure. Unfortunately, we don't have any major road cutting across the states.
This is actually a meaningful motion, but on the 12th December 2019, you presented a bill seeking for the establishment of a University of Maritime Studies, Oron. How far so far?
In my immediate environment, Oron Nation, the first outcry, what they pleaded for, what they wanted, was that bill, and I presented it a month or two after inauguration. Today, by God's special grace, that bill passed through all the processes of Senate, House of Reps, public hearing, and then it was sent to Mr. President, who has assented to it.
Congratulations, Your Excellency.
Thank you.
There is another bill that you presented for National Coast Guard. Can you shed light on it?
I'm from the riverine area of Oron Nation, Akwa Ibom State, surrounded by water. The problem of piracy has been a horrible thing happening to fishermen, that people going to the fishing port, as they return, there'll be some killed, some robbed, their goods will be taken, engine will be taken. That's the experience that they've been having. Even ordinary people traveling, even if you are not a fisherman, from Oron to Cameroon or Oron to Calabar, they get attacked on the way. And there's been this cry. So the Coast Guard bill had to do with a measure to help check the piracy and all the problems in the open sea.
There was one important bill that you also presented that has to do with the establishment of Sickle Cell Disease Research and Treatment Center. What actually pushed you to present that bill?
Well, if you've been listening to news, and in each community, you hear how people and see how people suffer, how children suffer because of sickle cell ailment. If you have conscience, if you have a heart, you go out to look for a way to help, to save such a life. We've lost so many lives in Nigeria because of sickle cell. How can we cope this? We start at the foundation, at the marriage level, to ensure that you don't have wrong partners. What if that happened? How do we reach out to help them? To provide medical support for them, to enable them reach out for medical treatment. That was the major purpose of that bill.
This actually brought us to the issue of your involvement in various humanitarian services, where you have received many awards, among which was that of Red Cross Society. What will you advise Nigerians, especially women, on the need for more humanitarian service?
A woman naturally is created with a heart of compassion to ensure that when you see someone in need, you must reach out to help. So I want to advise the Nigerian women to ensure they make good use of that gift from God. When they have the opportunity, ensure that little that God gives to you, reach out to the less privileged, reach out to people in need. As you do this, God opens more ways for you. And as a soul is saved, you have the blessings of God. So I want to advise the women to make good use of that gift of compassion from God to reach out to the less privileged.
The people of Akwa Ibom, especially your constituents, are calling you with the name a woman of excellence. Are you aware of that?
I do hear.
What do you think has given you that name?
Without boasting, I want to say that for whatever level, whatever position that God gives to me, I strive as a human being to put in my very best to serve my people. And when you do this, there are people around you that will observe. They are the ones that will judge you to say, oh, she's done well, or she's not doing well in this area, and you can correct it, and then you move on. Probably that is why.
Talking about your position as the State Commissioner for Industry, Commerce and Tourism in 2000, how do you find the sector and what were you able to achieve?
My greatest achievement was that the Boom Icon, the five-star hotel that you have in Akwa Ibom State today, was my pet project under the governor, Architect Obon Victor Ta. I'm the one that identified the site from foundation to about 90%. Completion of that project was supervised by me. It's a number one achievement in the tourism sector. We were able then to identify tourism sites that we have in Akwa Ibom State, 21 of them yet untapped. That was a great achievement. You must first of all identify before you now think of getting investors for its development. In the area of industry, we had a great achievement also. Today, Champion Breweries is standing, operating. It was resuscitated, reactivated during my tenure. So it's a great achievement. Under commerce, it was under my tenure that we had the first and second Aqua Fair, the best in Akwa Ibom State. Since I exited office, I don't think we've had such again. A trade fair that we had investors, producers, manufacturers of cars coming in to exhibit their wares there. It was a great achievement.
When you were the country's minister for lands and housing, you secured the federal government approval for the development of 10,000 housing units to meet the housing need of Nigerians, in addition to the completion of over 3,500 abandoned housing projects across the country. What is the secret of this success?
Again, service to the people and you having a vision. Getting an appointment is one thing. Identifying the vision of the administration, of your boss, what is the focus, what are they looking for, and then you driving with that. The administration of my president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, was the provision of social housing for Nigerians to cover the housing gap that we had then. Therefore, government is continuous. When I came on board, my predecessors had those 3,500 housing units in Enugu, Kaduna, some here in Abuja that were uncompleted. I had to continue to ensure they were completed and they were sold out. And then for the 10,000 housing units, that was the pair we had with NMRC unit. We started, it's still functioning up till today I don't know how many they've been able to achieve. As soon as that agency was established, we exited, but they stood on a firm ground. They're operating. I haven't gone into know the target that they have achieved so far.
Distinguished Senator, you are recently talking about a motion on the urgent need for the Central Bank of Nigeria to liaise with commercial banks to resume operation in Oron local government area, which is under your constituency. Are they not operating, or what is going on?
Currently, they are not operating. They've been shut down. The the Naira redesign and the cash crisis we had in Nigeria the last few months affected almost all the states, the entire nation, and my own community was not an exceptional. Therefore, the heat of that period, you having money in the bank, you can't access it. It affected everybody, both rich and poor. There are people that couldn't stand that stress, and they organized themselves to do a peaceful demonstration in the local government. But unfortunately, hoodlums jumped into it and they moved in to destroy banks. The three banks that we have, First Bank, UBA, and Access Bank, and other properties in the local government. Automatically, the bank shut down. They had to move. Since then, till date, since February till now, the banks haven't returned back to reopen. And it affects 5 local government. That you have 5,000 or you have 10,000 to draw from the bank, you have to pay transport to Yo, the state capital, or pay to Wicked. Half of that money will go for transportation. And it's not as if when you get there, you're able to even get the money out. Some return, some sleep there. The hardship is too much. That's why I had to call on the central bank through the Senate to liaise with the commercial banks. The case has been investigated. Some of the hoodlums were arrested. I think they are undergoing the trial, whatever. The police and the DPP, they are handling that one. But let the banks return back to assuage the suffering of the people, the common man. You have 10,000 in the bank, you can't access it.
What is now the stand of the Senate on that motion?
The
stand of the Senate on that motion?
It was approved. Additional prayer was even added that the committee, the Senate Committee on Banking, should also look into other local governments, other states that had similar problem, find out what the issues were, and also make recommendation through the Senate to the central bank to intervene to ensure that those banks return back. They are to render services to the people. Yes, we know it affected them, but we appeal. We've apologized. Let them return back.
Let me use this opportunity, Your Excellency, to ask about your position as a full-serving senator of the 9th National Assembly. What actually do you like most about the 9th Senate?
The 9th Senate, what do I like? I want to say that in the 9th Senate, one thing that goes for us is that you wouldn't observe too much gap between the ruling party and the opposition party. That's APC, PDP, or the YPP that we had. We interact, we relate. You can cross here to this wing, this one will come here, and we move as a family. If you have any issues, you can go to anybody. whether the person belongs to your party or not, and it is handled. That's one thing I like in the Ninth Assembly. And then the leadership also under the President of the Senate, distinguished Senator Lawan. He has ears. He listens to the people. There's no time there's an issue and you approach him in the right way that they won't look into it. So I want to say the leadership of the Senate. And then again, another thing I'll also take, if any bill or any motion comes up in the floor of the Senate, the argument that will be presented either by the leading party or the opposition party is always balanced. They won't do it because it's presented by a PDP person, they want to run it down. They always try to balance because we are all there to serve the people, not for party. When you step in there, the service is to the nation, to Nigerians.
Your Excellency, you are now a legislator who is now crossing the carpet to another side of governance, which is executive side as a deputy governor of responsible and notable state like Akwa Ibom State. And most of the legislators, the incoming legislators that will be part of the 10th National Assembly are new in the legislative engagements. What will you advise them?
Well, it's very, very unfortunate that democracy in Nigeria is, every day it evolves. That you might think today you're a super person, a superman, a superwoman, therefore you can always have your way. The last election wasn't like that. Out of 109, I think only 28 or thereabout will be returning to the 10th Assembly. The rest will be new. I wouldn't say it will be a great task, because before you set up your mind to come and serve in that capacity, first you must assess yourself. Am I qualified? Do I have what it takes for me to be there to represent the people? If the answer is yes, then as you come in, you must hit the ground. Study the standing rules. Study the Constitution. And then get to know the topical issues. You contribute and you can move on with it. So I'm not saying because only 28 back that the 10th Assembly won't be effective. No, it's not. The new ones can also live up to expectation, while the old ones, yes, the experience, positive one, if they bring the positive experience to bear, others will tap into it. And the 10th Assembly, I believe, will be a success and they will serve the nation.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for having time to be part of this program.
Thank you.
On behalf of the entire crew, I'm Abdullahi Aminu saying let's meet next week in another program with another guest. Bye for now.